Tommy Beck, and you're listening to today's Boondoggle.
This is Mark Metcalf, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio.
You are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio. Yes, Kato Kalin listens to this all the time.
Welcome to today's Boondoggle. Now, here's your host.
I am Monty Heath, so one Heath, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle.
Hey, what's up? It's John from Skillet, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle on Domain Cleveland Radio.
Fasten your seatbelts.
Louder Than Life, North America's loudest rock and metal festival returns to Louisville this September with My Chemical Romance, Iron Maiden, Tool, Limp Bizkit, plus Pantera, Pierce the Veil, Gojira, Papa Roach, and more. Nearly 200 bands across 7 stages. Louder Than Life at the Kentucky Expo Center, September 17th through 20th. Passes are on sale now, starting at only $1 down at louderthanlifefestival.com.
What's going on, everybody? It's Bill Bailey with today's Boondoggle, and man, get out a notepad because we're going to be getting learned here by Raquel Figlo. What's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm just, chilling in my dressing room.
Nice. Yeah, you've had a hectic couple weeks. I can relate, but luckily our schedules matched up, and we're able to have this conversation today.
I love your whole setup. This is pretty cool. Very pro. I like it.
Oh, thank you. I'm trying. If you could see behind the green screen, it wouldn't be as nice as yours, but
it's cool. You need a green. I need to make a green screen. That's smart.
Yeah. But so usually when I have people on for the first time, I like to go like way back. So when you were little, Raquel, you remember originally what you wanted to be when you grew up?
Oh man. You know what? As far as I can remember, the first time I heard Ozzy Osbourne on KNAC, which is an LA radio station, I fell in love with rock and roll. It was Ozzy and Guns N' Roses' Sweet Child of Mine. And I think it was always in my blood to pursue a career in music. And then when I was 12 and I went to my first concert, I saw Def Leppard and Ugly Kid Joe. And I made it my life's mission to find a way into this music scene. And that was it. So that's pretty young. Yeah, so I guess so. This was everything I've ever wanted to do. I didn't know to get money at it, but I wanted to be in it.
yeah, I know. So like when you you went to that concert, you knew you wanted to figure out a way in. What were like growing up like in the area that you grew up at, like what was like the music scene like there?
Great question. I was very fortunate to be raised in Orange County. And the direct road that I lived on was El Toro, Lake Forest, around that area, and it led to Verizon Wireless, Irvine Meadows, which was one of the biggest music amphitheaters in Orange County, the only largest one that had like 16,000 seats. So we had really big names roll through there. Everyone from Kiss, Aerosmith, Iron Maiden, Dio. I saw them all growing up there. I was very fortunate. And I was also very fortunate to have parents that I have who supported my love for music. They were pretty strict, so I went to concerts growing up with my mom up until 18 years old. She would not let me go by myself, which it was smart looking back, But I'd go with her, and we saw like there was this big radio station called K-Rock, and I saw Beck and Green Day right in their prime. I mean, the 90s when music was really at its peak. I think the 90s rock and alternative was at its peak in the 90s anyways. That was the music scene. And fast forward maybe 5 years ago, 2002 or 2003, so many things have happened in my life. That amphitheater had shut down, and I was chosen with a group of other people to fight for Irvine Meadows to come back to Orange County to have another large venue, because without that large venue scene, we did not have big music players, big names rolling through there. So that was a big deal. And we won one of the, I don't know, one of the battles, but unfortunately they did not bring back Irvine Meadows, but they did bring back another concert venue. But my point is like those bands that I saw, I mentioned Def Leppard. I was working with Verizon Wireless. We were all teaming up to do this, and they reached out to Def Leppard, and we had one of them. Don't kill me, I forgot the name. My mic can't think right now, but the guitarist did a music video and saying bring back Irvine Meadows. And then I worked with David Ellefson, who I've seen Megadeth many times at Irvine Meadows. He did a video because I asked him, and Tommy Lee, and it was like this big insane thing. So why I'm telling you all this, it's all full circle and why I'm in this industry and I have this passion for music.
Nice. And then so when you started going to shows and you knew you wanted to get involved, like what was like your first steps promoting, or or when did PR come along?
Yeah, I was a kid, and I would buy all that Hit Parader. Remember Circus magazine? Man, they need to bring that stuff back. But I would read all those. I would obviously go to the shows, and as I got older, I started meeting the bands, and I also started meeting, I don't even know why it was important, meet the bouncers, meet the security, meet everyone that gets you into the show, kind of know those names, which actually helped me obviously years later, because like getting into shows or knowing shows or getting backstage was super important. That was always fun, backstage. And I knew I had to go to school. I was always really studious, so I studied communications in college, and things just kind of fell together if I really think about it. Went to school, got my master's degree, did study PR, and by going to these shows, one day I met a friend of a friend who knew that the Key Club was looking for an event manager, and this is right out of college. The Key Club is one of the biggest venues on Sunset Strip, Gazzari's, and then it became the Key Club, and I worked there right before it shut down. And just by networking and knowing these managers and people in the industry they just knew as friends, I got this job opportunity that opened the door to the rest of my life. I worked at the Key Club, and I went after work to the Roxy, to the Rainbow. That's where everyone was hanging out. That's where shows were coming through, the Viper Room, the Whiskey, and all that. And one day this magazine walks in, and they were looking to do an event, and they were talking to me, and they asked me if I ever, if I wrote. And I was like, yes, not the fake it till you make it, but I was like, I went to college, I can write. So they hired me as a music journalist, and honestly, that see all these different things. So the Key Club, meeting that magazine, I became a music journalist. My first interview was a review of Zakk Wylde's Bringing Metal to the Children, and I got a 2-page spread, and it was an awesome interview. And every band that I met in the past, I started reaching out to and interviewing them. For example, like Danzig, and I interviewed like Steve Zing and Doyle and that kind of stuff. And my favorite band in the entire universe, Megadeth, I interviewed Dave Mustaine, and all these things just started unfolding. And having that experience of being a music journalist, my education, I was like, I need to represent these bands. And that's how my whole PR company started. And I was doing PR, let's just say, for $100, and then $500, and then it went up and up through the years, and just my reputation getting better and better in my success. And that's where I am today. I've been doing this for now 20 years.
Now, do you recall the name of that magazine that you first started writing for?
They're still my friends. Rock N Roll Industries magazine, and we were in Barnes and Noble and Guitar Centers nationwide. And we've done events with Rob Zombie that I connected the magazine to when he did, oh my gosh, why am I forgetting everything? It was during Halloween, but yeah. And then the Mega Cruise, I got the magazine on the Oh, I got Megadeth beer in the magazine and on the Mega Cruise because I just my networking and meeting people and always being nice to everyone. Right? I met um, Megadeth beer and their reps back in the day, and I thought that was pretty cool. Those are some highlights and pretty badass highlights, I think.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Do you recall like when you got into decided to start doing the PR stuff? Who was your first band that you worked with?
Oh my goodness! Oh my gosh! Oh man! I mean, I will tell you a cool story. In the beginning, I did a collaboration or some kind of like collab with Solon Music. Solon Music did remember Solon Clothing? They're still out there. Solon's pretty big out here on the West Coast, and I think actually worldwide now. But Solon, Jeremy, one of the owner, creator of it, we were friends, and he started a music distribution thing, and he had a bunch of bands. Like they had Solid Music, so I would interview those bands, and that was awesome. Man, why is everything so long ago? But stuff like that. So no, can't remember the very first thing I did was actually Zakk Wylde's Bringing Metal to the Children. So yeah,
Nice.
100 Proof. Okay, 100 Proof. Why am my mind is blanking today? But 100 Proof was one of Solon's bands. Shout out to them. I'm not sure if they're still together, but yeah, there was a lot. You can find them if you Google me. They're all over.
Yeah, gotcha. And then like as things started like taking off with your PR work, who would you say is like your one of your favorite bands that you were able to work with? I know it's like maybe thinking like children, your favorite child.
Sure, I know. Why is it always the bigger names? I'm just kidding. That I totally remember. Well, there's a few. Danzig was one of my childhood favorite bands. I mean, I remember cassette tapes, and my friend she was in band, and she introduced me to Metallica and Danzig. This is like, I don't even know, maybe middle school, but anyways, she had cassette tapes, and we used to write to Erie Vaughn, who I would never thought in a million years I would meet, years later as a little girl, like, meeting them now. So anyways, we used to write to him. He wrote back to us, and it was really cool. And I actually got to tell him that story. So anyways, Danzig, Steve Zing is in Danzig, but he also has his own project called Black 29. And I did the PR for them. And they were on Cleopatra record label at that time. And I mean, he's become such a good friend. Like, Steve is awesome. So actually doing PR for a member of Danzig, right? It was huge and memorable. And I also worked with Jeff Fab, who's in Black Label Society. And that was really fun too. That was pretty recent, just a couple years ago. He was doing his solo project too. And I got him on Metal Hammer's, Song of the Week. And Zakk Wylde reposted, to vote for Jeff Fab. And I think we won or we got second. We were one of the top 3, but I got them one on the top 3 of Metal Hammer's Song of the Week. And I mean, to have Zakk Wylde, come on, that's huge. Like, to repost it, that's fun. And then, just all these experiences of being so enamored by rock and roll and the scene and the stage to like be able to go to a Black Label Society show and Zakk Wylde saying hi and you're hanging out, with all of them and backstage and you're in, but you're in. I'm always a fan, so it blows my mind all the time. But I'm also there as a professional.
Yeah. No, I feel you there.
Yeah.
Now, you've had like over 20 years now experience doing this.
I know. It's all over the place, but it is over 20 years. When I say that's because I started my first company when I was like 20 years old, building website designs, and I did nonprofit events. So I kind of count it all, but 20 years in the music, I can't believe I'm 46. Yep. I don't look 46. But yeah.
And then, you've mentioned working with Danzig and stuff, but also I saw at one point you worked with Typo Negative. What was that like? Oh my
gosh. Yeah. Typo Negatives. Kenny and Johnny collabed with the guys Crowbar. And they have the band called I Am. At first, that's what I started helping them with. And then they changed their name to Sun Don't Shine. And it was just awesome because I saw Typo Negative when I was 18 years old at Verizon Wireless at Irvine Meadows. See, my life is full circle, and I just love it. And who would have thought so many years later, I would work with them. That's just passion, and this was definitely the path I was supposed to belong on. They were awesome. They were recording their first album down in New Orleans, and I got to meet up with them and kind of cover the whole experience and interview them and just see hands-on, the making of I Am, now known as Sun Don't Shine album. Some songs. I worked on the song, their first single. My mind's going blinks all the time, but yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I recently had Todd on from.
Oh, Todd Strange is
Crowbar.
awesome. How did that go? Yeah, Crowbar.
Oh, it was great. He's a hoot. I loved chatting with him. And so we were promoting Sun Don't Shine and Crowbar and everything. But you've mentioned Megadeth being one of your favorites of all time.
Time.
Formed a you got to work with Dave Mustaine, but you formed a friendship with David Ellefson.
Yes.
Enough so that you want to tell what role he recently played in your life?
This is so cool. I mean, all right. I just remember Countdown to Extinction being my favorite all-time album. Sweating Bullets is like my song for some reason. It just always has stuck with me, and I loved it. Anyways, so that's my whole thing with Megadeth. When I, through the years meeting them, I met David Ellefson, 15 years ago. And then, of course, we always see him at NAMM, and he used to sign at the Rock N Roll Industries booth at NAMM. NAMM is National American Music Merchants, a big convention in California every January. You guys got to check it out. I still go. I still love it. And one day, many years ago, I knew he was a minister, and I was like, if I ever get married, I would love for you to be the officiant. I would love you to marry whoever I fall in love with. And he was like, sure. And you know what? He kept his promise. And last year, I reconnected with the love of my life. We had met 6 years ago, Mr. Brian Bell, and he asked me to marry him after reconnecting after 2 months. And I called up David Ellefson, and I was like, hey, guess what? Remember when you said you would marry me and my true love? I was like, well, it's happening, and I'm getting married. And he was really, really happy for me. And, he's like, well, if it fits in my schedule, and this was like a year in advance. I'm like, oh my gosh, please, sometime in June. So it worked out. I can't believe it worked out, this schedule. It was all meant to be. And he was the officiant at our wedding. And he's a huge Kiss fan, and that's how I met my husband. He was a sponsor for the Kiss kickoff party called Cruise Fest, and I was doing the PR for Cruise Fest back in 2019, and that's where we first met. But he lived in Florida, and I was like, I don't want to move to Florida. Guess where I'm at now? Florida. But it's 6 years later, so it's fine. I'm enjoying it. And anyways, so that's how we met. So the cool thing is, at our wedding, I walked down the aisle to November Rain, which was killer, by a star-studded band with Todd Kearns and Zach Thorne, Blas from Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and Jimmy Romero. So star-studded band. I walked down the aisle to November Rain, and after we got married, and we're like, now pronouncing, when they said now pronouncing man and wife, he didn't say now pronouncing man and wife. He's like, you wanted the best, now you got the best. Now introducing Brian and Raquel Bell, because that's what Kiss says, right? At the end of every show. And then they played I Want to Rock All Night, Party All Night, Sleep All Day. Yeah, that one. Yes, that was pretty epic.
Nice. Yeah, I've had the pleasure of becoming friends with David as well. He's definitely a man of his word.
I will do the same. He's the nicest guy ever. And in our ceremony, we had a lot of scripture. He said a lot of Corinthians, and he really said some really nice things. He even spoke at my wedding. It was just, really heartfelt. It was beautiful. And of course, being the publicist I am, I got my wedding in the New York Times. The New York Times interviewed me and my husband. I'm insane. I know. I was like, this wedding was so over the top that I had to get it in the New York Times, and I did. Yeah, we were just in the Hollywood Reporter too, which is another big publication out here in California.
Nice. Yeah,
Why, actually?
me and my fiance have been talking about ours. She wants it simple,
Yeah.
on her side, but I'm like, all right, you can plan the wedding part, but I get to plan the reception, and I'm gonna make it as rock and roll as I can,
Reception. Yeah, we had a killer reception.
So I might have to hit you up with some of these contacts, because they say send a bunch of wedding invites to certain businesses, and they'll send you a bunch of swag or something.
Congratulations. I'm excited for you. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I've been dreaming of walking down the aisle to November Rain since the first time I heard it on MTV, when MTV was around, So I pretty much manifested everything I've ever wanted, and I got it. My husband is he's a rock star, but he's not a musician, but he loves music as much as I do. So I found my concert buddy for the rest of my life.
That's awesome. You're forever concert buddy.
Like forever concert buddy. That's important. And it was important for me to find someone that actually knew what I was talking about, because a lot of people are like, who? Megadeth what? Crowbar who?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Now, I saw, there was another band that popped out that you had worked with, and I don't know if it might have been around the same time frame that I met them, but you had worked with the Iron Maidens.
Oh yeah, Nikki Stringfield. I worked with Nikki Stringfield from the Iron Maidens. She had her solo project out, and I worked on it. A music video. She covered a song by Seal, that famous song. I need to.
Kiss from a Rose or whatever.
Yes, thank you very much. Gosh, I'm terrible. See, just so much going on right now. But yes, Kiss from a Rose, and it was killer. She had a show, and I did the PR, and she loved it. And then I introduced her to my client, Riot Stitch Clothing, at a Black Label Society concert. I think I saw Nikki at a Black Label. Anyways, I introduced Riot Stitch Stagewear. She makes clothes for rock stars. You got to check it out, Sherry Lou. And now Nikki Stringfield's wearing her clothes on stage. These are the things that I like to make happen for people, right? When you work with me, or just connecting people, because I just think it's really important that we all help each other. And that's
I agree. Yeah, it seems like, everything you've been saying about like networking. I wouldn't be here what I'm doing if it wasn't for that, And
yeah.
I seem to always like run into somebody that
awesome.
I form a relationship with, and then sometime down the line, there's somebody else that's looking for that exact person, and I'm able to be the bridge. It's so rewarding.
It really is, and because people will do that for you later, and yeah, it's important. And I don't know, you could charge for it, you could, or just do it on. I think things come together anyways. It'll be paid back to you, but yeah. I mean, what you do is actually something very special and very unique, and it's hard to do, and I don't think everyone can do it. I don't.
Exactly.
It takes special.
Now, the reason why I mentioned the Iron Maidens is because during my last deployment, they came and played over in Kuwait at my base.
Wow.
And stuff. Yeah. So I don't know if you were working with them at the time frame where they would go do like USO shows and stuff like that.
That's incredible. Wow. Thank you for protecting and serving. I know CC Strat. I just know the girls from, the scene. They're amazing, and they're killer at being the Iron Maidens, covering the Iron Maiden. Yeah, it's great. They're amazing. And they're women. And I love that. And I love presenting a lot of female artists, and I still do.
And then, before we get into the book, I want to ask you about the Metal Hall of Fame.
Oh, that was
your
fun.
association with that.
You know what? I just assisted getting celebrities there, and getting some media attention, because I was local to Orange County, and Pat, the founder, met him, and I was like, I would like to get involved, and I did it for 2 years, and helped out with getting press and people on the red carpet and getting celebrities there, and again, just meeting and hanging out with all the bands that I love. So it was a really good experience.
Nice. Yeah, I'm here in Cleveland by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Wow.
I don't know if you've
I've never been.
You haven't been here yet?
No, I need it. If I do, I'll hit you up. I'll come out with my fiance. I'm on the East Coast now. I can't believe I'm such a West Coast Orange County girl, and I am here on the East Coast in this heat in Florida. But I did it for love.
It helped us schedule this a little bit easier for me. I'm always trying to do the math when I interview somebody from the West Coast, make sure I'm getting the times right. But, let's talk about the main reason why we had you on. You decided to put a book out to kind of share your journeys or what you've learned along the way in the business to kind of help others. What inspired you to do that?
I've always wanted to write a book, and then I was like, what, do I write a memoir of all my crazy experiences? And I was like, I couldn't name anybody. But then also, I'm teasing. I myself have mentored a lot of women in college at the universities like Northridge University here in California. And I love mentoring PR students because I want to share my education and share my knowledge and experience. So that had a lot of influence on wanting to write this book. Also, I've had a lot of girls, mostly girls, and some guys, students, do papers on me because they found me on LinkedIn. They're like, music, publicist, what is that? And they want to get into that line of work. And I was like, I wanted to, in my later years, and later, not as in now, but just the timing was right, share all my experience and my knowledge. And I want things to be kind of transparent. There's certain things bands can do before they work with a publicist or before they can do anything. Everyone thinks because they have a song or an album, it's ready to go out and everyone's going to buy it. There needs to be steps way before that. Do you have your band photos? I'm being very basic right now, but your band photos. What's your genre and how are you going to describe your genre in its description when people are, asking you, or when you need to write it into, I don't know, Spotify or something. Do you have a bio? I still think websites are great, but if you don't, your Instagram, is it a story being told? Are you taking backstage, behind the scenes photos? People are getting to know you because people want to get to know the actual band members and the band. And of course the music, right? But remember when we were kids and we used to get a CD and we'd open the CD and open the booklet to see what's inside? It's kind of the same thing, I think. So a lot of that is in there too. It's let your fans get to know the band, because if you keep throwing songs out, I'm going to this show, it's just gonna be a lot of noise. So and it's also a workbook. And in the book, I'm like, so, what is your mantra, or what is your bio description, or name 3 things what people think of when they think of your music. So it's a short book. It's to the point. And once you complete it, if you think you're ready or if you have everything, I would encourage everyone to reach out to me and let's start working together. But there's a lot of steps band can do to get themselves out there before hiring a very expensive publicist. Because PR, it's a luxury, I think. It's not like marketing where you're going to get your ROI right away. It's an ongoing service, like these interviews, right? This is great for me because I'm going to post it on my social media, and maybe I'm going to take a video clip and post it on, I don't know, my Facebook. I still think Facebook's great. Maybe put it in some Facebook groups. But all these little things are stuff that we can use as marketing material for years, or, for as long as you can. So.
Yeah, it sounds like that book. My oldest daughter's a big music fan. I used to be a concert promoter here in Cleveland. That's how I originally got friends with a lot of bands. I have no musical talent, so how do I get involved? So I would book shows at a lot of the local venues and stuff, and that kind of started my journey into here. And then I'm 17 years sober. I got into recovery because hanging with the rock stars, I was partying a little too much with them, so I found that taking this route, yeah, I found, I'm much older now. I'm older than you. So, it's like, I'm my liver can't handle, too much. So, I found that this route, I stay connected, I stay involved, and it's less stressful. It's less, killing my brain cells and all that good stuff. But anyway, my oldest daughter, since I've been doing this stuff her entire life, she wants to get involved in the music business. So she's been going to school for music business, and one of her projects, I think she could have totally like got it from your book, with this
I
group
love
project
it.
you did,
It's only $20. Go buy it for her.
Yeah, I will.
Amazon.
But yeah, I'll definitely make sure she watches this interview as well and reads
if
that
she-
book.
If she wants to
But,
reach out to me, if your daughter wants to reach out to me for real, have her reach out to me and have her ask me any questions she would like. I mean, I mentored lots of students for over 5 years, and I kind of miss it. But if she wants to talk to me, she can. And then congratulations on your sobriety, because that is one thing that connected me and David Ellefson. I was sober too. I am sober now, and I've been sober a couple times, and and he's always been there and a lot for me. So.
Yeah. I didn't want. I mean, that's kind of what connected me and him as well,
Yeah.
and formed our
What a
friendship.
great guy.
Yeah, he's amazing. In fact, we share the exact same. Years apart, but exact same sobriety date. So
Way.
yeah, so I'll get a text from him all the time, like, "Hey, congratulations on another year, brother," and
Wow.
it's been an amazing bonding experience for us.
What rock stars do that, and what people do that? Not a lot. That takes special people, a special person right there. Yeah, that's great. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, he's an amazing guy. So glad you brought that up. And hey, I hit a lot of good Zooms and stuff too, that with a lot of LA people and stuff to
Good.
keep on this path. So
We'll stay
now-
on it. I'll stay on it too.
yeah, and I mean,
It's tough, but yeah.
yeah, we'll stay in touch for sure.
Thank you.
Now, so the book is called "No One Is Covering You: How Artists and Managers Actually Get Press and Build Credibility." One thing that I noticed is you had, and you kind of you mentioned it a little bit about it, how to stand out and be newsworthy. You want to go more into that?
How to stand out and be newsworthy is you got to keep telling stories. And what I mean by that is, things that are interesting, things that are happening. Myself, here's a basic, and I guess when I say basic, it's tangible in the sense that people can do this. The way you keep telling stories is I'm going to go back, or any band that gets interviewed, whether it's big or small, it doesn't matter. To me, all press is important press, and it's press. You cut little pieces of things that you're saying. So one, I could say, we could do this whole snippet of sobriety. Then you could go post it in your Instagram and hashtag sober life, sobriety, I don't know, sober for life, all those kind of things. Tag people that are in that group, and then also, so that's something that you're exposing yourself to another audience, right? And this particular audience that will now go back and be like, oh, who's this person? I don't know. Let's see who they are. And they play in a band, or they play guitar, or they represent this band, and it's metal music, and they like that new person who just discovered you likes metal. That makes sense. So that's how you keep telling your story and newsworthy. And then also, and not just taking it from these interviews, but also what is going on in your personal life. It's great that you play guitar, but what else do you do? If you work with nonprofits, now you're telling a story of nonprofits and opening yourself up to that whole new audience. That makes sense. And when you work with me, I kind of break this down in like, is that newsworthy? It's not that it's not newsworthy. It's becomes a snowball, and now you're having press everywhere. So what happened with myself, I got married, boom, I got this press on it. I moved to Florida. I'm telling all these stories. I'm constantly on social media putting all these things out, and people are picking it up. And why? Because they see it in the comments. They're like, man, you're on fire right now. You're blowing up. So it's always telling a story. Newsworthy, yeah, make it newsworthy. What is exciting and special about that thing? That's what I meant. That makes sense?
Yeah, it makes complete sense. Like,
great.
I'm I'm in my 50s, so it's like trying to do this social media thing and trying to get the likes and the follows is like I'm learning. I have to ask my daughters a lot of times, like, how do I make this TikTok video or whatever that gains traction for my podcast and everything. I had a guest on who's in a band that put out a book on how to promote his band and everything, and he was giving me tips like, you know, you can keep putting up clips from your interviews, and those are cool.
I thought those were cool, but anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. No, he said those are cool, but you know, if you really want to get like a loyal fan base, do some just videos of you talking.
Oh, of course.
You know?
Yes, yeah.
And you know, let the audience get to know you a little bit better. And I think I'm pretty open in my.
That's great.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty open in my conversations with people, but when it's just me in front of a camera, I'm just like, you know, I get in my head like, who really wants to hear what I have to say? Do I have anything important to say?
You got to get it out. You got to get it out of your head, and then also you never know. That's why I'm saying keep those stories out. All right, we're gonna do you right now. We're gonna pretend. Well, we're gonna. All right. What I think you should do is tie the rock and metal into sobriety. That you have to have a niche. So you're interviewing these bands, but for yourself, if you want to talk a little, because there's a lot of people sober, and it's not sex, drugs, and rock and roll anymore, which I used to like. Like it used to be fun back in the day, but these young kids, I'm glad it's not like that anymore. I'm being silly, but still. So there are people that need to hear that message about being sober and music, or that could be your niche. Pick a niche. If you don't want to do that, then talk about your service. You mentioned Kuwait. Be like, hey, rock and roll helped me when I was, you know, down and out, and I was on a mission of, you know, fighting for the country kind of thing. That makes sense. Find your niche and tell those stories. Yeah,
like I have, you know, being in recovery, I do have a lot of other people that are in recovery on here. You know, we'll have musicians, like I formed the relationship with David, like we were talking about, and we'll have those discussions. I'll also have veterans on, you know, to kind of promote. I like to also touch on mental health and stuff.
Yes,
as well.
Mental health is huge right now. Like we gotta talk. You gotta talk, and me and your dog gotta talk. But mental health is huge right now. There's so many people suffering, and I've done some songs with some artists, you know, about mental health, and it's just people are sad out there. It's not always about drugs, and it's not always about alcohol. It's just about, you know, how people are feeling. So if you have something to say, and this isn't a bad thing, go chat GPT it if you get a loss for words. Just read it to your chat GPT and read it off. As long as you get your message out. So there's no reason to be in your head anymore. There's all these programs and all this help out there that can help you tell your message. But it's not through your mouth, though. But I'm not against ChatGPT. It can never take over my job, but it does help, you know. And if you
it's a good tool to have.
That was the word, a tool. Use these tools.
But I do a lot like a men's meetings and stuff in recovery, and you know, the whole image that men have to just suck it up and be tough and not have any emotions, that thing just needs to die. I love going into men's meetings where we can be vulnerable and real about the heaviness of, you know, our responsibilities and what we're carrying, and I try and promote that on here as well. Great. You know, I had Phil Labonte on here from All That Remains, and we had a good conversation about mental health, and some of his stuff was, I mean, I don't agree with everything that he had to say, but people need to watch the entire interview. Some of the stuff was just like taken out of context, but it made all the major music news things.
That's huge. Okay, that's what you need to post, that you were in Blabbermouth, that you were a podcast. That's great. I mean,
that was the thing. I kept seeing it pop up, and I'd read it, and I'm like, it seems to be like negative towards him, but at least it spells my name right and the podcast name right. So, you know,
you gotta be, when you promote yourself, you gotta say as seen in, you know, Blabbermouth or whatever you got on, Metal Injection or those kind of publications. That'll help you. But like I said, I mean, telling these stories, and if you have these cool stories, like go back and, I don't know, make a post about it on Instagram. Eventually, when you find your niche, it'll catch on. Because I was once described by this music influencer. He's like, Raquel's not only, you know, working in the scene, she's in the scene. I'm out there at shows supporting bands. I'm taking pictures with rock stars, where some people might think, you know, who knows, What? But no, like that's what you're supposed to do. You tag them and you go take pictures and you're in the scene and you're supporting the scene. That's what I meant. And that was my niche and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I work with all levels of bands. But that's exactly why I wrote this book. It's like, okay, I really thought about it. I'm like, at this point now being married in the second chapter of my life, before a band comes to me, I want them to have A, B, C, D, E, F, G done. You know?
Yeah.
So that way I can take them to the next level. And I don't have the time to do that stuff. What I used to do, I'd get them started and I was like, okay, this was cool. But no, I want to help them now so they can either work with me or another PR professional and not waste their money. But it's not waste of money. Let me take that back. It's like, let's get you to that next level because you're already there. Because it's expensive. PR is expensive. For a good person, it's, you know.
Yeah.
It's,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Now, I also saw that you were looking into doing, I mean, we talked about a little bit too, you like mentoring, that you're looking to start maybe doing more mentoring programs and even some webinars.
Yeah, so my new website, I guess I'll promote it here first. It's raquelfiglo.agency. And this is where people can call me with any questions they have, and I will give them a basic strategy. I'll say the price for $500, or for an entire, you know, work on strategy where I work the steps with you, it's $2,500. But to get people going, because my PR rates are $1,500 and above by itself. So what I wanted to do with these bands, you know, if they had a question or they couldn't afford it, or I could give them some guidance to get them started, or even some press, because a publicist is only as good as their list, and my list is awesome, right? But there are publications out there that are, if you look in the right areas, you can find the emails to publications and media outlets. But having a representation is always better, because obviously media wants to hear from a band that's, you know, that has some kind of representation. So anyways, if they have questions, you guys can ask me. And that's my new thing, is that whole new website of being more of a consultant with raquelfiglo.agency. And then as well, my webinars will be starting hopefully in September. I'm heading back to California for a week because my wedding was in Amari magazine as well, and we're on the cover as the first bridal issue. So I got to go do some red carpets, and I'm gonna see Hatebreed. See how my life, like, it's like music and real life. I'm gonna go see Hatebreed on Sunday, and but my point is, yeah, I'm aiming for September, and that's where I'll be hands-on and kind of going through the book. Well, going through the book, not kind of going through the book, and answering questions like in real life, in real time.
Nice. Hatebreed, those are my dudes, man. Me and Florida Frank used to actually be roommates. He's from here originally.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, how funny. Yeah, I mean, I love Jamie and Wayne, the guitarist, and I just did a promo. Well, I did PR for Skin Lab, and they covered a Hatebreed song, and we had Wayne write a quote, and it got a lot of press. Got some real good high level press. That was really cool.
Yeah, I was talking with Wayne at Incarceration this year, you know, and
awesome.
Because of everything he just went through with his health and everything. Glad to see that he's back, and I'd love to get him on here to talk more about it. So hopefully we're going to set that up when their schedule settles down a little bit. But
well, I'm excited to go back to California and see them at the House of Blues in Anaheim on Sunday, August 23rd. Because that's my stomping ground, man. I'm gonna make Florida my home. I mean, it is my home, but I've only been here not even a month yet, so I'll start finding my way around here and trying to find some cool rock venues. Nice.
Now, before we get ready to wrap up, I want to ask you a couple of questions I normally ask my guests that I have on here.
Oh, okay.
Who are the top 3 musical artists that you're listening to today?
Oh my gosh, I need to open my anything on liquid metal. I'm listening to a lot of liquid metal, but my gosh, do they have to be new? I mean, I'm always listening to Black Sabbath.
Doesn't have to be new, just whatever your jam's been.
Black Sabbath for sure, Parkway Drive, and let me think of something else. Oh my God. The Ladrones, I think they're called Ladrones or something, on liquid metal. Jose Megan has been talking about them a lot. They're like a Mexican metal band. They sing in Spanish. Ladrones, go check them out.
Nice. I'll have to check them out for sure.
Yeah. they're doing really well, I mean Spirit Box too, yeah, and stuff like that. So Liquid Metal is one of my go-to channels, and I have that out here, so that's good.
Nice. Yeah, I've had the pleasure of you mentioned Parkway Drive. I had the
Yeah.
pleasure of interviewing Winston here
cool.
too. Yeah, he's a great dude. Love that. And then, what class do you feel should be mandatory before graduating high school today?
Well, wait, can you say it one more time?
What class do you feel should be mandatory before graduating high school today?
What class would be mandatory? Unfortunately, illiteracy is fucking huge out there. I don't even know if it's a class, but people need to learn to read and spell. Read and write is super important. Now, this is where those tools are going against us and defeating us. And because a lot of my friends' kids, I don't have any children, but my friends' kids and people I've seen close to me, like, spelling's freaking hard and people don't read anymore. So I don't know. I think you got to learn to read and write, which should be basic, right? But somehow we're failing at that pretty bad.
Yeah, I've been nervous too about the whole like everything. Oh well, I'll just watch
Waste of
YouTube and
text.
learn how to do this or whatever.
No, you got to go to
Everything's on the
school.
screen. Yeah, exactly. Because what do you do when all the screens are off?
Yeah,
you gotta have some actual life skills to fall back on.
I just want to talk about this a little bit about, my dad was a huge advocate about school. So I knew I was going to go to school, and I was really scared of like, well, what am I going to do when I get out of school? Like, how do you find a career? Because it's hard out there. I was fortunate to have a passion about something. So I've told my little brother who's 16 years younger, when he was getting out of school, I mean, what's your passion? Like, that is not something to take lightly. You really got to think about it throughout your life. And I never thought in a million years, like music was just so hard, especially like, I was like, 12 in the 90s? How do you get into it? But staying your path and getting involved in things that you're interested in is important. Like after school activities or nonprofits. I was a part of associations like the Advertising Association of America. So my point is that, like, there's ways to follow your passion. Just don't think, you're never going to get the job that you want or the career. And then, second, you got to go to school no matter what. you have to have some kind of education.
Awesome. And then who would you say are three people who've inspired you and you can credit for making you who you are today?
Oh, man. I said this. All right. I have this, John Waters has a quote that says, figure out your career in your life so you never have to be around jerks. That always spoke to me because, figuring out your life, no one's going to figure it out for you. So you need to be the architect of your life. And I just love that because, we are surrounded by, like, jobs, like, sometimes suck with the people around you, your boss, people that you work with. So, yeah, I always took that very to heart. Like, you got to figure out your shit. So I started my own company because I hated working for other people. I hated waking up at 8 o'clock and going to work. I can't believe that was like the main thing about the whole creating my job. Besides, falling into the industry, like I had odd jobs and I had jobs and I was like, this sucks. Like you have to be here from 8 to 5 for what? Sometimes you had nothing to do, but anyways. Yeah. And then definitely, do people always say their mom and dad? If it wasn't for my dad pushing education, he passed 8 years ago this month. If he didn't push that, I wouldn't be the self-sufficient woman I am today. And my mom taking me those shows.
Awesome. And yeah, sorry about your loss.
Thank you.
And then any message you have for our military members currently serving overseas?
Thank you for your service, for protecting us, and especially the ones out there right now overseas. God bless America, and I'm really happy, that they're out there for us. Definitely appreciate it.
Raquel, thank you so much for doing this with me, having this conversation, and I think we will stay in touch because
please do.
I'll definitely be picking your brain, and I'll try and steer my daughter into reaching out to you.
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, like I said before, it's something I have a passion for. I love it. I love mentoring, and stay in school, go to school. Those are two messages, you know. I definitely advocate for and push. But congratulations to you and your sobriety and your daughter following her dreams.
Awesome. And then one more time, you want to plug your website where people can follow you and what you got going on?
Sure. Check out my new website, raquelfiglo.agency. But for all my everything, I love Instagram. It's Raquel Figlo PR. Just Raquel Figlo, my name together, and then PR. That stands for Public Relations.
Awesome.
Follow me there.
Awesome. Thanks again for your time. It was great talking with you.
You are the best. Thank you. Thanks for everything.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening once again to today's Boondoggle Radio Show. Please be sure to check out our website, domaincle.com or todaysboondoggle.com for more shows, and check out our archives. Follow us on social media at Today's Boondoggle on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter for more information about this podcast. And please support us on www.anchor.fm/Today's Boondoggle, as well as on our GoFundMe and Venmo. Be sure to subscribe, comment, download, and listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spreaker, and all the other podcast platforms out there. Please email us with any questions, suggestions, and comments via todaysboondoggle@gmail.com. Leave us some 5-star reviews and help spread the word. Thanks again for listening.